Do you feel like you're always biting off a little bit more than you can chew, but that's just the way you like it? Well, if that's true, then you're in the right place. This is episode 3 of the... No, this is episode 4. This is episode 4 of the Learning by Doing podcast. I'm your host, Ethan, and this podcast is sponsored by a little place I like to call the happiest place on earth, next to Disneyland. This podcast is sponsored by my company, Thirst, a drinks and treats experience. If you're listening to the podcast and you haven't been to one of my stores, which possibly is unlikely, but not unheard of, I would really love to see you at one of the stores. I'd love to meet you. And I'd love to chat about anything we're chatting about here, or maybe something else. Have an awesome conversation. A couple topics I wanted to jump into today. Like I was saying, this is an entrepreneur's podcast. This is a hustler's podcast. And the reason I started everything out that way is because that's how I'm feeling lately. I'm feeling like there are so many things on my mind that I can barely get any of it done because I'm just trying to filter through it and be like, all right, what can I get done today? And so, I'm going to give a little update of what's been going on in my head. So, basically, I won't go into the details of what's been going on because, as always, you can get the documentation of my life on my Instagram stories. It's going down on the IG stories. But I wanted to tell you guys about my thought processes when I have a lot to do. And I came up with something back when I was in college, when I just was starting Thirst, and I was still doing a lot of classes and things. And I had a lot on my plate, got a lot to get done, and I realized something that has helped me since then a lot. That is, getting stressed is good to a degree. So most people are like, oh, well, don't stress about it. I actually like getting a little bit stressed. I think it kicks me into gear. It gets me fired up. If I'm always on the edge a little bit, am I going to get this done in time? Is this thing going to get pulled off? Is this catering event going to get pulled off? Are we going to pull off this weekend at the shop? Whatever it may be. I think a little bit of stress kicks you into gear, lights a fire under your butt, and really gives you that extra motivation to get it done. However, I think there's a fine line, because one thing I like to say is don't get stressed, get scheduled. And once you're all scheduled up and you have a plan, then you just got to let it ride. So the saying I like to say is don't get stressed, get scheduled, and then let it ride. And what I mean by that is all the things that I have to do, I like to get them in a schedule. So I'll look at them. So even last night or this morning, I did it again. All the things that I need to get done. This new kitchen I'm signing a lease on. It's the busiest day at the shop of the week at the shops. I have 2 catering events that we're not very well staffed for. A bunch of events this weekend. I've got a ton of stuff on my mind right now. And some other stuff, definitely too. I've got a ton of stuff on my mind right now. But instead of sitting here and overwhelmingly getting stressed about it, I know that the right formula is to get a little bit stressed so that it kicks me into gear. But from there, don't get overly stressed, get scheduled, and then let it ride. And what I mean by let it ride, well, actually, let me take a step back. Don't get overly stressed, and yes, I am making a adjustment to my original term. Don't get overly stressed, because I think a little bit of stress for me helps me a ton. Then get scheduled. And what I mean get scheduled is look at all the things that I have to do and put them into a game plan. All right, how can I get this done today? Let me write out all the things I need to get done. What order? The order of operations for me is huge. What order are the things getting done in, priority-wise? What time are they getting submitted or done or putting into place? Get scheduled. That's number 2 piece of the puzzle. And last is let it ride. At some point, you have to throw your hands up. You can only do so much. You can only do your best. But that little bit of stress, not overly stressed, that little bit of stress should kick you into gear to get it done. And if it doesn't get you all the way there, it's going to get you as far as you can go in a healthy way. And so that's the way I like to think about it, is don't get overly stressed. get scheduled, and then let it ride. That's something I'm really trying to focus on right now. The get scheduled part, the middle part of the equation, is harder than you think, because it's hard to see something. I think it takes a real skill to see a lot of things that need to get done, see a lot of tasks, and then put it into an actual, tangible game plan. What order should we do these things in? How should we do them? What's just that whole thing. So getting scheduled is tougher than you think, but a little bit of stress is going to help out. So that's what I've been thinking about, and that's what I'm doing right now in this very instant. Got a bunch of stuff to do. I got a meeting in just a minute. Got a lot of stuff on the catering line to work on. Like I said, it's the busiest day at the stores today. But the way I stay cool in it, the way I stay in execution mode, is by not getting overly stressed, getting everything on a game plan and schedule, and then I just let it ride. I just go for it. I give it everything I got. And at the end of the day, if it's not enough, then that's what I had to give. And I'm totally okay with that as long as I follow the formula. So that's my formula for getting shit done. Don't get overly stressed. Get scheduled and let that baby ride. Let's talk. I'm looking to bring some guests here on the podcast. This is the Learning by Doing podcast, episode 4, a place for hustlers, a place for entrepreneurs, a place for people with a million things going through their mind at once. If you have any questions, please submit them to me on the gram. Email me, ethan@thirstdrinks.com, or shoot me a text. I'm sure you can find my phone number somewhere. Love you all. Learning by Doing episode 4 is out, and we'll catch you on number 5.